Hey museum friends, it's Nat here with another virtual field trip of the Roberson Museum and Science Center, and behind me is what we are going to be exploring today. But before we get into that, I wanted to take care of two housekeeping items. One, if you're really enjoying these videos, please consider becoming a member of the museum. It would really help us out, or making a small donation, or sharing this video with your friends. Anything really helps us keep us, hey, welcome. Welcome to the live video, guys, hey. So, I'm gonna stop yammering about donations and memberships and things like that and get into the real good stuff, which is right behind me. So behind me is the Link pilot maker. But before we actually dive into the actual object and artifact, I want to give you some background information on how this thing came to be, what inspired it, who made it. Well, the person who made it was Edwin Link, and his family moved to the Binghamton area. So he grew up, he lived, and he worked in Binghamton, New York, which is pretty cool, eh? And Edwin Link, from a very early stage, was really enthralled with flying, as was the rest of America, really. There's a story about how a rumor that Charles Lindbergh was going to fly overhead, everybody stopped and looked up to the sky to see if they could see him. So people were really interested and enthralled with this idea and the possibilities that flying held. It was this new innovation. But Edwin Link saw it more as, or saw more of the possibilities of what it could become, the future of flight, what it was. So he saved up his money at one point in time and went to go get some flying lessons. Now, you have to understand that the people who were actually flying planes these days were more roguish types. They were barnstormers, they were people who were in it for adventure. There wasn't really a standardized way, aside from maybe the military, to really learn how to fly. This was really early technology, early days, so lots of room for pioneers to blaze the trail. But Edwin Link saved up enough money, borrowed some money, to take his first flight, and the pilot took him on more of a joyride. Edwin never got a chance to touch the controls. He didn't really receive a lot of instruction, so he was pretty disillusioned with the state of learning how to fly, and he wouldn't fly again for another 6 years. And by the way, his father was not enthused that he took a flight, that he was trying to learn how to fly, that he was obsessed with flying. It wasn't considered a gentleman's thing to do. Once again, it was considered something more roguish types did. So anyway, Edwin Link starts working in his father's piano factory. And he starts to get this idea of how to piece things together, how to make things. And I'm going to turn the camera around here. Boop. And we're going to get an up-close look. So as you can see here, these look like billows from a piano. And Link started to piece together a flight simulator, a trainer, from these billows. Yeah. But before we get into that, so Link started to kind of learn how to fly using what is called very cutely as the penguin system, which he had a few friends on the airstrip where he would go and he would taxi planes. So taxiing planes means not taking off, not taking flight, just kind of driving the planes from point A to point B before liftoff. So as you can imagine, a plane, when it's not up in the air, it kind of waddles a little bit like a penguin. Pretty cute. Penguin system of flying, right? But he became more acquainted with how planes worked. He got a view of the instruments inside, basic operation. So from there, he was really able to start to construct and figure out how a plane was put together, which is pretty cool. So he developed this Link pilot maker. As you can see, there's a lid that encloses the entire cockpit, so you can't see anything. There's no video screen. There's only these instruments, right? So you can't see anything, and that's what he believed was the way to fly, the way to learn how to fly was through your instruments, through your navigation systems, because those were the things that were going to help you when the weather was bad, when you wanted to fly at night, because for a long time, the way to fly was, or the way for early pilots, just get them off the ground, get them flying right away, was ground navigation. But you need to be able to see the ground. So it's looking at the ground to figure out where the horizon is. But when you can't see the ground, when there's fog, when there's cloud cover, when there's bad weather, when it's nighttime, you can't see the ground. You need to use your instruments in order to fly. You need to use your instruments to figure out where the horizon is. So, Link developed his pilot maker because he thought that this is a great way to teach a lot of people how to fly in an inexpensive way, which is really great, because Edwin Link thought that flying was going to be the new car. It was going to be something that the everyman was going to use, and he wanted to be able to do it cheaply. He wanted to be able to it to be affordable for everyone, which is really great. Very, very thoughtful. But he developed his pilot school. He made one of these trainers, and the Depression hits. Learning how to fly becomes a luxury, and this Link pilot maker is mostly given out to amusement parks for kids to ride in, not to learn how to fly. And he has to, it's looking like his training school is going to have to shut down. He's going to have to discontinue making these, and it looks like the flight simulator isn't going to take off. Pause for laugh. Anyway, so there's kind of a fortuitous, tragic moment that hits that actually helps make the Link flight simulator quite popular. Two things, actually. First is a few disasters with the Postal Service. Roosevelt is so disgusted with the privatization of the mail carrier system that he decides to give over carrying the mail with the Army Air Corps. The Army Air Corps is like, yes, we can handle this. They start delivering airmail. But the problem is, flight is still an early innovation. There's not a lot of people that know how to fly. There's a lot of mail that needs to be delivered. A lot of people that need to be trained quick. Unfortunately, they don't have a mechanism in order to train them, or train them all as quickly as they want to get them up in the air. So they say use ground flight, or the ground flight in order to fly. There's a lot of accidents, especially when there's bad weather, when there's people trying to fly at night. Does not look good. There's a lot of deaths. So what happens is the Army Air Corps is like, something's got to change, something's got to give. We need to figure out a way to train people, people that are flying these planes to deliver this mail, and they call Edwin Link. And they say, this flight simulator looks like it has possibilities. Let's try and figure this out. So they call up Edwin Link. Edwin says, okay, yep, I'm going to get in my plane. I'll fly out to you tomorrow morning. We'll have a meeting. The weather is disastrous. You can measure sight within inches, and the brass is thinking, he's not going to show up, he's not going to be able to make it, we're going to have to reschedule this thing for another time. But Edwin Link comes flying down the tarmac, lands perfectly, and the brass is thinking, oh, his abilities must be a reflection of what this machine can do for us, which is great. So they end up ordering a bunch of machines, a bunch of simulators to train they're pilots. And the other thing that happens around this time is World War II. So World War II, you need pilots, and this simulator helped give American pilots quite an edge in learning how to fly, in training people to fly through the fog of war, to fly in very inhospitable conditions, to use their instruments in order to fly and learn how to fly. And over here is a trainer's desk. So this is a reproduction of a desk that a teacher would sit at. So you can see here there's a map with coordinates, and the teacher would give the student in the simulator some instructions, say, hey, I want you to go here on the map. And based off of the pitching and the tipping and the turning of the plane, the instructor could follow along with this mechanism to see if they were going on the right course, and he could radio instructions to them. So it gave you a good feeling of what it was actually like to fly, which is pretty cool, eh? Yeah. Kind of give you a better view. Yeah. That's pretty neat, eh? So I'm gonna hop back over and let's get a view. Let me give you a picture of who Edwin Link was. So that's his photo right there, up in our exhibition. Pretty neat, eh? So Edwin Link didn't do just the first flight simulator over here. He also explored a lot of the sea. He was an innovator and an explorer, and he was very curious about the world around him. But yeah, so that's Edwin Link, and or part of Edwin Link's innovation and his history. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this live virtual tour. We're gonna be back here next Tuesday, same time, same place, different exhibition. If you guys want to maybe vote, maybe comment down below to let me know what you'd like to see. We have a Gilded Age mansion, which is very lovely. Maybe we could go on a special tour of the servants' quarters. I don't know. Let me know what you'd like to see, what gallery you'd like to see. Check out our exhibitions page, and let me know. These tours are for you. Make sure you stay home and stay safe, and continue taking these tours with me through the museum. I'll see you guys next Tuesday at noon. Bye.